God is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am great. God is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am. God is great. So great, and I am great. God is love. God is love. So I am love. So I am love. God is love. God is love. So I am love. So I am. God is love. Love, and I am love. Put your hands together. God is great, and I am great. Whoa. God is great, and I am great. God is peace. God is peace. So I have peace. God is peace. God is peace. So I have peace. God is peace. Peace. Oh, I have peace. Oh, God is great. God is great. So I am great. God is great. So I am great. God is great. And I know that I am great. I am great. Yeah. Put your hands together, yeah. God is great, and I know that I am great. God is great. God is great, and I know that I am great. I am great. You are great. We are great. Oh, God is love. Oh. La 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 da da da. And God is great. So oh, God is love. Sweet love. I love you, I love, we are love. I know I am. 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 I am. I am. God is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am great. God is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am. God is great. So great, and I am great. God is love. God is love. is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am great. God is great. God is great. So I am great. So I am. God is great. So great, and I am great. God is love. God is love. So I am love. So I am love. God is love. God is love. So I am love. So I am. God is love. Love, and I am love. Put your hands together. God is great, and I am great. God is great, and I am great. God is peace. God is peace. So I have peace. God is peace. God is peace. So I have peace. God is peace. Peace. Oh, I have peace. Oh, God is great. God is great. So I am great. God is great. So I am great. God is great. And I know that I am great. I am great. Yeah. Put your hands together, yeah. God is great, and I know that I am great. God is great. God is great, and I know that I am great, and I am great. You are great, we are great. Oh, God is love. Oh, love. Put your hands together, yeah. God is great, and I know that I am great. God is great. God is great, and I know that I am great, and I am great. You are great, we are great. Oh, God is love. Oh, la 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 da da da. And God is great. So, oh, God is love. Sweet love. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. It is so very good to be here with you on this Sunday morning as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God flowing in, through, and as us. Let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. And so I invite you here and now in this moment to close your eyes, and let's take a deliberate breath in through our nose and out through your mouths. And again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And we affirm, I am here now.
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 There is one mind, one power, one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in you, through you, and as you, that is working in me, through me, and as me. There is one life. There is one mind. That life is God. That mind is God. And that life is your life now. That mind is your mind now. That life is my life now. That mind is my mind now. That life and that mind is perfect. It is the mind of God operating in, through, and as all of us, and it is right here, right now. Divine intelligence is right here, right now. Divine wisdom is right here, right now. Divine power is right here, right now. Divine love is right here, right now. Divine good is right here, right now. Divine prosperity is right here, right now. Divine abundance is right here, right now. Divine healing is right here, right now. Divine peace is right here, right now. Divine harmony is right here, right now. Divine unity is right here, right now. Divine success is right here, right now. Divine genius is right here, right now. Divine good is right here, right now. For that thing that we call Mother, Father, God, that we call the source of all, the all in all, neither comes nor goes, but is always here and now. And so as I recognize that all of God, all of life, all of wisdom and power and intelligence and healing and abundance and success are here now, I remember that we are here now, for we live, move, and have our being in this thing that we call God. And it lives, it moves, it has its activity and activation in, through, and as us. We are one with God. We are one with abundance. We are one with love. We are one with success. We are one with healing. We are one with ease. We are one with grace. We are one with power. We are one with answers. We are one with solutions. We are one with new ideas. We are one with infinite possibility. And it is out of this awareness of our oneness that we have great power. And it is from this power that I speak now, this power that we live, move, and have our being in, that we share equally and unequivocally. I speak this word of faith today, that this gathering we call the weekend service is prosperous and prospering. I declare that this gathering we call the weekend service is healing us now. It is healing our hearts. It is healing our minds. It is healing our lives. It is healing the earth. I declare right here and right now that we will leave here differently than when we walked in, that we will leave here with a new idea. We will leave here in new possibility, fresh possibility. We will leave here remembering the truth of who and what we are. We will leave here worthy. We will leave here empowered. We will leave here blessed. We will leave here prosperous. It can be no other way. And so, as that is true, I now keep the focus of my attention on that way. I now keep the focus of my attention on that reality. I keep the focus of my attention on that desire, and so it must be, and so it must be. So, from a place of deep and profound gratitude, I release this prayer. Thank you, God, in, through, and as us. It is complete. It is finished. It is done. And so we walk forward from here now in the direction of it being done, acting as though it is done, living as though it is done, speaking as though it is done, thinking as though it is done, interacting as though it is done. We release this prayer with joy and thanksgiving, and together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it must be. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever day, whatever time it is, where you are right now. It is good, and we are grateful to be here with you all for the weekend service, again, as we celebrate the magnificence and significance of the power and presence of God flowing in, through, and as you. Now, if you are a first-time guest, we especially want to welcome you to this live stream. Welcome to the weekend service of Celebration Spiritual Center. We are confident that something will be done or said that will support you, that will empower you to live a prosperous life, that will support you in thriving in your life, that will support you in remembering who you truly are, that will support you in remembering that you're more than just your body, your soul clothing, but there is an eternal thing that you are that is always seeking to express magnificence, that is always seeking to express beauty, that is always seeking to express love and connection and harmony and abundance. And we have the opportunity to express that here on the earth, to actually experience heaven on earth. And we are grateful that you are here today to share in that experience with us. We are grateful that you are here today to remember that truth of who and what you are. And so as a first-time guest, you see the information here on your screen. This is how you access your digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to 347-472-1078. No additional messages are needed, and you'll receive an automated reply with a link. That is the link to the digital connection card. Click that link, enter your information. The most important piece of information is your email address, because that is how we can actually put you on the mailing list. And so once you complete that information and submit it, you'll receive another message that says you're all set. And indeed, at that point you are. You'll be on our mailing list. You'll receive our weekly correspondence that goes out every Friday, and any other information that is needed to share with the entire community. You will receive that information. We also encourage you to follow us and like us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, all those wonderful social spaces. We're also sharing things there, and you can get more information there. So let's get into our news and updates for today. Much of this information is also echoed in our Friday newsletter, and you will see that there's some things that you want to have in your inbox that you'll have easy access to as you move forward throughout the week. Well, this is the third Sunday. It is July 16th, which means it is God Talk Sunday. The God Talk is your opportunity to ask questions. We recognize that this path of metaphysics, this path of new thought, brings many questions, as most people, when they come to new thought, are unlearning. Right? Unlearning traditional ways of thinking about religion, thinking about God, thinking about Jesus, and so many other things, and of course thinking about ourselves. And so you have many questions. You may have heard something said in a sermon or a meditation or even a song that you want clarity on as you seek to understand and apply these principles in your life. And so that's what the God Talk is about. And if you've been walking this path for many years, you'll still have questions, and that's awesome as well, because you're in a place where you've applied the principles and they've worked, and now you want to apply them in another way or in another area of your life. And Pastor Yolanda and I are happy to be here to answer those questions. Now, the only way to ask the question is to be in the space, to be in the room, and so that happens via Zoom. And if you're on our mailing list, that Zoom information has already been sent to you because it's in the Friday email that goes out every Friday. If you are a first-time guest and you're hearing about this and you want to participate, when you join our mailing list, after successfully joining the mailing list, you'll receive an email with that Zoom link and password. And so you'll see the information again throughout the stream on how to join our mailing list should you decide to do that. But we look forward to you all joining us at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today for the God Talk. It is always awesome. It is always healing. And we always feel better collectively for having chosen to attend. So we look forward to that later today. We are in our Truth Sunday Masterclass series right now. And so our format is a little different. But we are studying the New Thought classic, The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox, who's a Unity minister. If you do not already have the book, I encourage you to get it. If you don't have the book, you're just hearing about this for the first time, we're actually going to go through line by line. We're on chapter 3, so you don't have to have the book for today, but we encourage you to get the book so that you can continue to read on your own and revisit the previous classes from the prior weeks, but we're looking forward to sharing today. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call, which happens at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We encourage you to be there with us live. We share a reading, which is always powerful, and then we pray. That prayer is recorded, and so you can access the most recent prayer at any time using the playback number you see there on your screen and the access code, and the most recent prayer will play. Also, if you're on our mailing list, to make it a little easier, that weekly email on Friday has a link to the prayer that you can listen to online. If you have a prayer request, we encourage you to send in that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. That request is received by Pastor Yolanda, myself, and all of our prayer champions. We continue to hold each and every one of you in our hearts and hold and know the highest truth for you and with you, but we know there may be something specific that you're praying about. We know that you may want to hold a friend, a loved one, a family member in prayer as well. And so we are happy to stand with you in that knowing. We also encourage you, as your prayer is answered, as the shifts are happening, to email us at that same email address and let us know how your prayer is being answered and how answered prayer is showing up in, through, and as your life. We always encourage you to invite someone to join us for the live stream. We are looking for those that are looking for us. If you have a friend or a loved one that you know is maybe in alignment with what CSC is all about, invite them to join us to the live stream, or you can send them a previous video of our previous streams. You can send them a song. You can send them a meditation to let them know what CSC is all about, and leave it up to them, right? We don't push or pressure anyone to do anything, but we do know that it's important to just let folks know that something like this exists, and if they're interested, they will take the next step. This month, we are highlighting a series from 2017, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, which is inspired by a book of the same name by Catherine Ponder. I encourage you to revisit that series. It is a supportive series, particularly as we come out of last month's series, and as many of you are still practicing the one prayer, praying and affirming, I am prosperous 100 times in the morning and 100 times in the evening. This series will keep you in the vibration of prosperity, as will our master classes. We're learning more and more about how to think and understanding what it means to develop a mental equivalent. And so by affirming I am prosperous 100 times in the morning and the evening, you actually are developing a mental equivalent. And so this sermon will support you in keeping your focus of attention. Sermon series, rather, will support you in keeping the focus of your attention where you want it to be. I highly encourage you to check that out on YouTube. PY's sermon, I Dare You to Prosper, is a must watch and listen. And that concludes our announcements for this week. And so that means we get the awesome opportunity to move into a powerful meditation with the meditation experience led by Pastor Yolanda.
Yes, yes. It is time for meditation. It is time to reconnect if we felt separate this week, if we felt afraid this week, if we felt alone this week. I often say you can read every sacred text, you can fill your libraries, and that's important to study and to learn. But until you experience God within yourself, all you have is information. Again, information is important, but it's direct experience and connection that lets you know you're not alone, that lets you know that you're worthy, that reminds you that life is here to support you. And so we spend time every Sunday going within, taking a pause to reconnect, to realign, to breathe, to affirm, and to release what no longer serves us. This month, we are using the affirmative thought, I allow peace and prosperity to come to me. I allow peace and prosperity to come to me. There's so much in that affirmation that we consciously need to be reminded of and unconsciously need to absorb. I allow. That means I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything else. As I live, move, and breathe, I can allow peace just like the breath. I can allow prosperity just like the breath. I can allow it to flow in, through, and as me, just like the breath. Many times when we come to this path, we discover all the things and the ways of being and thinking and why we are where we are. And that's good information. But it is the knowingness that whatever we've experienced in our lives, the mistakes we've made, the choices we've made, have not changed our inherent worth and value. And that understanding is what we breathe into. We allow peace. We don't have to do or be anything. It is available the moment we turn in the direction, the moment we get to stillness, the moment we breathe. It is there, peace and prosperity. So let's go ahead and prepare ourselves to make this beautiful inward journey, to experience the God within ourselves. Look around the room and notice where you are. It might feel a little silly to do that when there's no one there, or if there's someone there. But we do that so that we can become present. We notice where we are. We notice that we're not in the past. We notice that we're not worried about the future. We're right here, right now, making ourselves available to peace and prosperity. So, look around the room. Allow yourself to become seated upright in a chair, on your sofa, but planted and seated upright in a comfortable posture, each vertebra stacked on top of the other, aligning and allowing that nice long line of energy to flow unobstructed. Plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. And here is where the journey begins. Here's when the reconnection is solidified. Allow your eyelids to close. That simple act of being present, eyes closed to the external, takes us deep within ourselves and allows the experience of peace and prosperity. That's it. Closing the eyes, noticing the breath, allowing the palms to make contact with the tops of the thighs. That simple movement refocuses our attention now to the breath. And we just notice the rhythm of our breath. No hurry or rush to match or align breaths. We just notice. And whether the breath appears to be deep, appears to be shallow, it really matters not. What we focus in on is that the breath is moving, that the circle of life continues, and that with each breath we allow peace and prosperity to come to us. And because we've been gifted with the ability to choose our experience, to choose our reality, we get to choose how we breathe. And so now we're going to take that breath a little deeper, taking the breath and the focus of the attention deep into the low belly. Just notice it there. Maybe you've been holding your breath or holding your stomach in, pretending, bracing. Just allow the belly to relax. And together, we're going to inhale for a count of 4. Then hold the breath for a count of 4. And then release the breath for a count of 4. Let's begin. Inhale. Hold the breath. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. Again, into the low belly, expanding the low belly, holding for a count of 4. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, and allow the sound and the worry, doubt, and fear to be released. Inhale into the low belly. Now allow that breath to rise, expanding the sides of the body. The rib cage expands. Hold it there. And relax the jaw. Sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the sides and the front, and even allowing the breath to go to the back. Hold it there. And sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, and now allowing the breath to connect each part. Allowing the lungs to fill and rise, connecting to the heart chakra, center of the chest. Hold it there. And sigh it out. There is quiet at the end of that breath. Enjoy it and allow the next breath, the peace and the prosperity, breathing in. Holding at the top. Relax the jaw. Sigh it out. Let's practice that deep inhalation, the holding and releasing. But this time, inhaling for a count of 6, holding at the top, count of 4. And when you're ready to exhale, close the lips and exhale through the nostrils for a count of 6. Notice the breath that you draw in, that you allow to enter the nostrils, slightly cooler. We hold and it circulates through the body. And then we exhale through the nostrils, and it is slightly warmer, energized, invigorating the body, relaxing the body, and making us more receptive to peace and prosperity. Take a few rounds on your own. Each round relaxing you more, making you more available. And peace and prosperity must come to you. Beautiful, everyone. Let's take that energy that we've created together, that we now feel alive within our lungs and our bodies, and send that energy and that peace and prosperity into our feet. Maybe you raise the heels or raise the toes, just connecting to the feet. Stop the movement. Release the breath. Relax the feet. Noticing the feeling of connection. Noticing that we are always connected. Noticing how easy it is to allow peace and prosperity. Sending that energy up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. Energy flows across the shins, and in our minds and in our body, we feel the energy moving across the shins, across the calves. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows across the knees. They are available to us now. More flexibility, more forgiveness, more openness. Relax the knees. That peace and that prosperity cannot be stopped. It flows across the thighs and the glutes and the hamstrings. That well-being, that sense of knowing, that feeling of aliveness. Relax the thighs, the glutes, and the hamstrings. As we settle in, noticing where the energy is now. It is at the base of the spine. It is available to allow that kundalini, that energy, to rise. As we inhale, we exhale, and we allow. Energy rising up and up. We pause here to notice, release, and allow. Energy rising in and up. Each breath, we relax and we allow. And up, and up, and out the crown of our head. Give yourself permission to be an open channel for peace, an open channel for prosperity. Seeing that energy gathered above us, feeling it connecting us all. We now give it permission to flow back down through the crown, cross the third eye, opening and balancing the throat, relaxing the shoulders as it flows down the arms and out the fingertips. In your mind and in your body, experience yourself as open. And that's all that needs to happen. To breathe and to allow peace and prosperity to come to us. As we prepare for our silent time, notice, scan the body. Notice if you're holding anywhere, any tension. Is there tension in the jaw? Behind the eyes? Make no judgment, just give yourself permission to relax wherever you feel the tension. You may turn the palms up and down on the lap, or leave them turned down to ground. As we prepare for our silent time, the mind may wander. It's okay. Bring it back to our affirmative thought. I allow peace and prosperity to come to me. I allow peace and prosperity in every form to come to me. I allow peace and prosperity to come to me now. With our eyes closed, we just enjoy a few final moments in this place and space of giving ourselves what we need. With our eyes closed, we give ourselves the reminder of how easy it is to breathe, how easy it is to connect, and how easy it is to experience God alive within us. With our eyes closed, we take the mental picture. We allow the somatic knowing. We allow the breath to be more alive. If the palms are turned up, turn them down. If the palms are already down, either way, notice and make connection with the tops of the thighs. Being in gratitude for the time we've given ourselves. Inhale, drawing the shoulders up by the ears, allowing the spine to elongate. Exhale as we release the shoulders back and down. Inhale, draw the shoulders up again. Exhale as we release the shoulders back and down, nice and easy, gentle movement. And one more time, inhale up. Exhale as we release the shoulders back and down. bringing palms together at heart center. Bowing the chin towards the fingertips and feeling that opening that happens at the base of the neck and all along the spine. An opening, an opportunity to give ourselves more peace and prosperity. And from this place of deep gratitude and a nice gentle bow, slowly allow the eyelids to open, maintaining the gentleness, the ease, and the peace. Gentle gaze. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, keeping the soft focus. Releasing the breath. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Thank you, PY, for leading us in that powerful meditation. As always, I encourage you, you can always come back to the stream at any time to tap into the vibration of meditation. You can share it with someone, whatever it may be, but we encourage you to continue this practice of meditation in your own daily spiritual practice, either on your own or, again, you can come back to the stream and have the gift of Pastor Yolanda lead you in your meditation. Well, we are in the third week of Get What You Want, Using the Power of Your Mind to Shape Your Life. And we are studying for this masterclass, The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox. It has been wonderful, right, as we've first talked about what a mental equivalent is, right? That actually we have to have it in our minds first before we can experience it in our lives. And so the things that we are experiencing in our lives that may be unwanted, there's a mental equivalent in our subconscious mind that we must move out. And then for the things that we want, there's a new mental equivalent that we must put in its place, right? That we must build. And in the first chapter, Emmett Fox talks about this, and he builds on it in the second chapter in thinking about universal polarity. That the law of polarity teaches us that all things come from the combination of two things, right? So we talk about two becoming one, but really two make one, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's even how our number system works. And actually, if you go back to the history of how those symbols that we call numbers, like how it came to be, right? The one, the two, and then there are three things now, right? That's showing us the birth. And so in this context, when we think about the mental equivalent, what we are doing is we are taking our interest and our feeling, right, combining them to create the mental equivalent that we then get to focus upon. And so that was a big part of the heart of the second chapter. And so we get to move into the third chapter. We have some more things to heal and some more things to clean up as we move into the next chapter. But I also think that it's still very beneficial. There's some awesome things in this chapter as well that I think will be some light bulb moments for everyone, and some light bulb reminders for everyone. So let's dig into the text and keep it flowing. All right. Hold on, I gotta move some things here. Let's see what I'm doing. All right, beautiful. Building a new mental equivalent. It is your bounden duty to demonstrate, and in order to do so successfully, you need to know why you should do so, why you should demonstrate at all. Some people say, since God is all and everything is perfect, why should I seek to demonstrate God's law? Now, first, I just want to say this. Most of you know this, but I think it's important to say it. The word demonstrate is actually a more affirmative word to use versus manifest. So we could reread this and say it is your bounden duty to manifest. And in order to do so successfully, you need to know why you should do so. Why should you manifest at all? Some people say, since God is all and everything is perfect, why should I seek to manifest God's law? And that question comes up, right? And critiques about manifestation, because that's the more popular word. People ask that question. And so when you read the word demonstrate, manifest, demonstrate, they're really synonyms. And he goes on, because you have to prove the harmony of being in your own life.
There you go.
I love the answer.
Highlight.
Right.
And it's really simple.
Right. So the issue, yes, God is all, and God is perfect, and it needs nothing, and all of that's true. We don't manifest for God, right? Or to even prove that we know God or that we're spiritual.
Or that we're worthy of.
Right. But we're proving the harmony of being in our own life. And really, another word is reminding ourselves, right, that we have to interact deliberately with these universal laws and these universal principles, because it reminds us that we're connected to something bigger than our 9-to-5s and bigger than what's happening in the world right now, or what's happening in your city right now, or what's happening in your family right now. We have to prove and remind ourselves of the harmony of being of our own lives, not to prove it to anybody else. If you're trying to manifest a car so you can show people that you're abundant, you still ain't abundant.
Right.
You're trying to manifest $1 million so people will know that you're rich and wealthy in God. You still ain't rich or wealthy in God. All right. So that is why. If there were no need to demonstrate or manifest, one might just as well go to bed and stay there, or more simply, stroll around to the nearest undertaker. Of course, we are here on earth to express God, and true expression is what we call demonstration or manifestation, because it demonstrates the law of being. Absolutely.
I mean, if you think about it, if God itself had not demonstrated, we would not exist. Right? This is just our ability to take that mental equivalent, that ability that was given to us, and use it.
And there's something else profound, and this will heal your life. We are here on earth to express God. That's your purpose. You don't have to find your purpose. Now, right, there are infinite numbers of ways to express God. And so even instead of saying, I don't know my purpose, it's saying I'm discovering new ways to express God as me, right? I'm discovering new ways to demonstrate the law of being, right? Because there's a thing that is God, that is being and becoming. It is beingness, it is life itself, it is everything, and also the future expression of everything, right? That exists. And so you're not trying to find a purpose, right? You're seeking to discover and demonstrate new ways of expressing God. That is our purpose.
Absolutely. And so it also means that all of the ways that you've expressed God in the past were not a mistake. Right? Some of us be like, oh, I spent all those years in that job that I hated and da-da-da. You were still expressing God in those moments, in those jobs or careers. And so it also gives you the opportunity to make a change without explaining it, to go in a new direction without telling anybody or getting approval. Right? The sun doesn't need approval to keep expressing itself. Right? And so if you've been waiting on permission to follow that intuitive leaning or whatever the next joyful thing that you feel that's ready to express, here's your permission. Right? We're expressing God, and since God is love, we are therefore expressing love.
There you go. And that's what our bounden duty is, right? Our bounden duty to demonstrate, to manifest is that, right? To manifest God, to manifest love itself in, through, and as us in the powerful, unique, and individual ways that will happen.
That should be a
pressure
is
that's
off.
Relief. That is relief. It is your duty to be healthy, prosperous, and free. It is your duty to express God to the utmost of your power. You have no right to relinquish your efforts until you have accomplished this. until you have excellent health and are visibly regenerating, until you have found your true place and right activity, until you are free from conscious fear, anxiety, and criticism, you are not demonstrating, and you must find out why and correct the error, whatever it is.
Okay. And so this is not judgment that you don't have all your ducks in a row, right? I ain't living up to my potential. This is just a reminder of the ways in which God is expressed,
Right.
and to allow yourself to demonstrate in those ways.
Right. Right.
Somebody might not have all of those ways operating right now. That's okay.
Right.
Can you start with letting go of the self-criticism?
Right. Right.
Because the God that is within you is never judging
Right.
or judgmental
Right.
or critical.
Yeah.
So if that's the voice that's guiding your actions and your purpose, then you know you're not expressing the joy and the love and the life force that is God.
Yeah, and I think there's an opportunity to be a little more nuanced here, right? I think a more loving approach would say is that we all have the opportunity. We have the opportunity to experience excellent health and visibly regenerating and find our true place and right activity. We all have that opportunity, right? And so that gives us the awareness that there's still more to express, right? And we're continuing from our individual vantage point for so many different reasons, right? We will continue to express and express and express. And so there is the opportunity. It's not that just we're not demonstrating, right? We may not be fully demonstrating
We are
those
demonstrating
things,
something.
right? Because we're always demonstrating. But to the extent that we're not demonstrating what it is that we desire, or as we're aware that there's another expression, then, right, we find out why and correct the error,
Right.
whatever it is.
And the beauty of opportunity is choice.
Yeah.
You can choose to demonstrate in any of these areas or in all of these ways. You can choose to release yourself from fear, right? Opportunity is based on choice. I'm allowing the opportunity. I'm choosing something different for myself today. Again, without explanation,
Right.
without external validation, there's an internal knowing that is ready to experience or have another opportunity to experience God in a new way.
Yeah. Yeah. We move on. Jesus has told us that we always demonstrate our consciousness, and unity is teaching the same truth today. We could say New Thought in general is teaching the same truth today. You always demonstrate what you habitually have in your mind, right? And so I didn't highlight that, but that's just kind of like a truth principle, right? We're always demonstrating what we habitually have in our mind, not just what we have in our mind, right? I love how Reverend Michael Beckwith calls them our chronic thoughts and our chronic habits, right? It's the things that we're doing over and over and over and over and over again.
And maybe so much so that we're not even conscious of it. It's become habituated subconscious behavior or thinking. But you can tell what you've been thinking by what you're currently experiencing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just an opportunity to experience something different.
Yeah. Yeah. What sort of mind have you? I am not going to tell you, and do not let anyone else tell you either, because they do not know. Now, here's a good word right here. People who like you will think your mentality is better than it is. Those who do not like you will think it is worse. So do not ask anybody about your mentality, but examine your conditions and see what you are demonstrating. This method is scientific and infallible. Now, I say this is a good word right here because how often do we do this, right? How often are we measuring ourselves against our parents' perceptions of us, if they weren't a good perception? I was reading some really sad tweets this morning, folks talking about things that they experienced as children, and so it drives them to be perfectionists, or they don't celebrate the good things that they're doing in this moment because they still have that tape playing, right, of someone basically telling them that they're not as good as they think they are, right? And so, right, people who don't like us also, in today's world, we just call them haters, right? Will always think that our mentality is worse than it is. And unfortunately, sometimes the people that love us, right, they only will see, they're not going to tell you, you need to fix something, sometimes, right? Because they just love you and they just want to, see you be the best and focus on the best. So it's important to remove people from the situation, right?
And we're not talking about mind in terms of intellect.
Right.
Right? Don't get hung up on the idea, I need to be smarter. I need to have more education. I need to. No, everybody has the same mental abilities, same mental equivalent possibilities. Right? So don't get hung up on, I need more education to do this. Right?
Yes. And he gives us a great example here. If an automobile engineer is working out a new design for an engine, if he is going to do something different about the valves, for instance, he doesn't say, I wonder what Smith thinks about this. I like Smith. If Smith is against this, I won't try it. Nor does he say, I won't try this idea because it comes from France. From France, and I don't like those people. He is impersonal and perfectly unemotional about it. He says, I will test it out and decide by the results I obtain. Then he tries it out, measuring the results carefully, and decides accordingly. He does not laugh or cry or get excited or bang the table, but he tests out the idea scientifically and judges only by results. That is how you should handle your mentality. Right? So this is a great example, right? And I love how he's giving us the opportunity. He's showing us here how we must approach this science of mind, right? That it's not about, there's no room for criticism or judgment, right? There really isn't. It's testing, it's experimenting. We see what the results are, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I was thinking those things. I was hanging around with those ideas. I was starting to make these ideas habitual. Or you can start to now look in your past and see where, oh, I realize now that I was taking in information and thoughts and ideas that contributed to this experience that I'm having. So I'm not willing to do that anymore, right? And so you start to test and put new things in place, right? Very important.
It is, because what he's saying, he does not laugh or cry. He doesn't allow the emotional aspect, which is usually triggered by some beliefs, and to get activated. It's just the facts. It's just what happened. It's just what is, right?
So we go on. That is how you should practice the metaphysical teaching. You demonstrate the state of your mind at any given time. You experience in the outer what you really think in the inner. This is the meaning of the old saying, as within, so without. Note carefully that in the Bible, the word within always means thought, and the word without means manifestation or experience. That is why Jesus said the kingdom of heaven, health, harmony, freedom, is within. Harmonious thought means harmonious experience. Fear thought or anger thought means suffering or frustration. This brings me to the most important thing I want to say, namely that if you want to change your life, if you want to be healthier, happier, younger, more prosperous, above all, if you want to get nearer to God, and I know that you do, you must change your thought and keep it changed. If I was going to preach a sermon on this chapter, I would have called it Keep It Changed. Right? Because this is what we read over and over again in this chapter. Right? See, we've heard Wayne Dyer say, change your thoughts, change your life, right? We've heard different iterations of that. Transform your thoughts, transform your lives, right? Whatever it may be. But the key part, we know we need to change the thought, right? We need to think a new thought, hence the name of the philosophy. The spiritual philosophy is new thought. But keep it changed. That's where the so-called work is of our practice, right? In keeping it changed. Now, the one thing I started to think about, I thought about gospel songs and old spirituals, the idea my mind's made up, right? And I won't turn around. Right? Though that same type of conviction is what we're talking about, right? And unfortunately, as I look out at the landscape of life, there are not a lot of made up minds, right?
They're easily swayed minds,
right? There's people who change their thoughts, but then they're not, because see, a made up mind and a mind that you keep it changed, right? It's the equivalent of you know, if your name is Sally and somebody calls you Sue, you wouldn't respond. You know what I'm saying? Because I am who I am, right? And I'm going to keep it that way. I'm not going to answer it in any other name, right? But so often we get into these places where we declare our name is healing. We declare that I'm thinking about now the song, My Name is Royalty, right? My name is Success, right? We declare that, right? But then as soon as somebody starts hollering out for lack, we the first one running towards them and raising our hands. Mm-hmm. You must change your thought and keep it changed.
And that's what spiritual practice really helps you to do, is to keep it changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not saying that you don't notice when it's veered back the other way. You just use your tools to keep it changed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You use your daily practice to keep you in the vibration of the change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You use your tools to keep you in the vibration of the knowing, of the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you find yourself approaching your spiritual practice as if it's something that you can put down and pick up, then you realize that same ability, that same philosophy is how you're approaching your thoughts as a whole.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Again, no heat, no judgment of what you've been doing.
Right.
It's like, well, how do I know that I'm not keeping my thoughts consistent? Well, how is your spiritual practice? Is it consistent?
Right. Mm-hmm.
As we meet with each of you individually or in coaching situations or spiritual counseling, that's one of the questions we always ask. Mm-hmm. In fact, we already know the answer, but we always ask it so that it gives you an opportunity to realize, oh, wait, I did disconnect for a while. Mm-hmm. I did get caught out there in living life or experiencing whatever that was. Oh, let me pick this back up again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is the secret of controlling your life. And there is no other way. Jesus himself could not have done it in any other way, because this is cosmic law. Change your thought and do what? Keep it changed. We have all been taught this very thing since the metaphysical movement. I heard it stated in those very words many times nearly 40 years ago in London, but most of us are slow to realize the importance of it, right? So again, this is not people, I just said, no heat, no judgment. This is not a time for shame and guilt, right? There's a recognition that it takes a moment for you to really have a made-up mind, to have a made-up mind, right? So you may have embraced the idea of, oh yeah, I need to change my thought. I need to think a new thought, change my thoughts, change my life. Yeah, that's wonderful, right? But the keep it changed part, right? Then you have to put things in practice into your life that have to become habitual, so that your thinking is disciplined, orderly, and constructive, right? That's the law of thinking. That's how you keep it changed. And so again, he says, but most of us are slow to realize the importance of this. It's not that we haven't heard it. If you want to change some condition in your life, you must change your thought about it and keep it changed. Then the condition will change accordingly. We just expanded that truth a little bit. You just catch the next piece there, right? So you recognize there's a condition in your life that you want to change. First, you must change your thought about it, right? And part of this is even the non-resistance, right? So it's not that, okay, I have I owe money, right? And so I have this bill, right? I have to change my thought about what owing money means, right? Or being behind or any, right? I have to change my thought about that. Not focus on it, not say I don't want this, right? Because we talked about that last week. Then we would just keep including that in, right? And then once we've changed our thought about it, now we got to keep it changed. Right? Now we have to live in the idea of having more than enough and being abundant, right?
And seeing
then
prosperity everywhere, right?
Then the condition will change.
And all of this is important to build the mental equivalent, right? Because we're not, first of all, most of the time when we come to new thought, we're not even conscious that our thoughts have any power. Then we're not conscious that we're thinking the same thoughts over and creating the same experience. And then we're not conscious that I could change it and have a different experience. So there's a progression in our level of knowledge and experience and exposure to these ideas.
Absolutely.
Right? So we got to be gentle. And sometimes the only way, and I've been in that situation myself, that we will be willing to keep it changed is if the current situation is bad enough, if it's horrible, if it's so loud in our lives that we have no choice but to look at it.
Yeah.
And that's not how God intended it. For whatever reason, that's usually the hard way that we learn.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard. Hear me.
Right.
Doesn't have to be a struggle to change. It's just that we've conditioned ourselves, all of humanity, to believe that anything worth having is hard to get. And so we make it harder, right? Or we keep sitting in the suffering or the bad experience. I know I've done it, until we have no choice, until the pain is so bad. We keep sitting on that nail when what we need to do is realize we have the opportunity to get up.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And so that's why we lower our threshold for pain, right? The longer we practice, the early, just little feeling of the pain, where there's something I need to change my thought about and keep it changed. And we do that.
And we develop, a lower threshold for pain to the point where we're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow myself to experience that or think that or believe that about myself. It's too painful. I know where that if I focus on that long enough, that leads me. I know what it looks like to be in that place. I'm not going there again. I'm choosing another path.
All that anyone else can do for you is help you change your thought. And that's what we're here for.
That's what
we do.
That's what we do.
That is what a metaphysician can do for you, but you yourself must keep it changed. No one else can think for you. No man can save his brother's soul or pay his brother's debt, which is true. To change your thought and keep it changed is the way to build a new mental equivalent. That's the title of our chapter. It is the secret of accomplishment. You already have a mental equivalent for everything that is in your life today, and you must destroy the patterns for the things that you do not want, and then they will disappear. You must build a new pattern or mental equivalent for the things you want, and then they will come into your life.
Right, because the universe abhors a vacuum, so you can't just I'm just getting rid of all thought. I'm not going to think anything. Well, that's impossible. It's just, what are you going to think now?
Yeah. And here's something that's interesting. When we think about this idea of destroy and build, which I like the way he frames this here, but oftentimes when we think about that, you must destroy the patterns for the things you do not want. Unknowingly, that causes many people to focus on the problem and understanding how the law works, which we've talked about in the previous weeks. Whatever you focus on, you're inviting in, right? We live in an affirmative universe. It's yes and amen. Amen means it is so. Those are the words of the universe of God, right? So whatever we're focusing on as the power that God is focused where we're focusing. If I'm focused on, I realize I have a pattern of lack. I don't want to be in lack anymore. And I have a pattern of being broke. I don't want to be broke anymore. And I have a pattern of being in debt. I don't want to be in debt anymore, right? And so you would think, I need to destroy lack, and I need to destroy debt, and I need to destroy not enough, right? That's actually going to keep it in your vibration. So what's interesting is that when we're aware of the mental equivalents that we have that are contributing to what we don't want, we actually destroy those patterns by understanding what is the counter, what is the opposite, right? I love how Abraham Hicks teaches about this, that we're always shooting off rockets of desire, that as soon as we have an unwanted experience, we're actually desiring the opposite thing. Automatically, right? Yeah. So our opportunity is to then pay attention to that and name it, right? So instead of I'm destroying lack, I'm desiring abundance, right? Instead of I'm destroying debt, right? I'm desiring having more than enough, right? And so that's actually how you destroy the pattern, right? And so we can read that and then think, I got to get in this fight. Right? This fight against good, against evil, right? And it's like, no, that's actually not what you have to do. And so then that actually supports you in the second piece, which is you must build a new pattern or mental equivalent for the thing you want. And so that's how you're really pivoting your attention in the direction of what you desire, recognizing that where you put your focus of attention, right? You're changing your mind and keeping it changed. That is the focus of attention. The power itself of life, of the universe, is focusing in that direction so that you can have the experience of the manifestation or the demonstration.
And so what you realize by what PG just said is how easy it is to destroy. Again, it's easy to destroy as soon as the recognition, the awareness of the unwanted is there. It automatically shoots out the desire of the wanted, and you turn in the direction of the wanted. And you just keep turning in the direction of the wanted. You don't wobble back and forth if you can help it. Right? And so if that's what you've been doing in relationship, if you just been in one broke ass, busted relationship after another, been there, done that, right? The moment that I become aware of what I want, I turn in the direction of it and I stay there. I don't keep going back and talking with my girlfriends about how men are this way. I don't keep going back and talking about how bad the experiences were. Unless I'm in therapy, which is a safe environment to talk about that with a trained professional. I don't even put my focus there anymore. I focus on looking for examples of men or women that represent the kind of love that I want to experience. I focus my attention on every time that person, that kind of person shows up, even if it's just somebody else's relationship. I just keep I'm in the vibration of the wanted now. I notice how good it feels to be in the vibration of the wanted. I notice how easy it is that as soon as I turn in that direction that it shows up. I just stay in that wanted. You know, I stay in that energy. And if I notice myself, because I've lived this other way for so long, I immediately shift back. I don't spend any more time like, oh, there I go again. None of that, because that's feeding the old energy. The moment I become aware, I acknowledge it and I move back. I do the course correct.
Right. Yeah. It's like if you were cooking a meal, right, and you taste it, and it's like, oh, it needs a little more salt. You just start shaking more salt into the dish, right? You don't belabor the point and like, Lord, what's wrong with me? I need to put salt in this dish again. 2 weeks ago, I had to do the same thing.
I did the same thing 2 weeks ago.
As soon as you're aware, you do the thing to change the experience or the condition.
Right. You don't call your girlfriend or your friends up and be like, yeah, I know what I did. I made this dish 2 weeks ago and it was busted then and it's busted now.
Right. Yeah. So we move on. Of course, changing your thought for a short time is the easiest thing in the world. And I got to say this, right? Because we see this all the time in classes, right? Even when you have a class like the 4T Prosperity Program, which was 12 weeks, and many of our classes that we've taught individually are 12 weeks, 6 weeks, it doesn't matter. It's easy in a controlled environment for a set amount of time to change your thought, right? And we watch people have profound experiences, right? Right? But the keep it changed part, this is the other part, right? So he goes on. Everyone does this when they go to a metaphysical meeting. The beautiful atmosphere and the positive instruction make people feel optimistic. The teacher reminds the audience of the truth of being, and they think, I believe that, and I'm going to practice it. But 5 minutes after they have left the meeting, they forget about it, perhaps for hours. The trouble with most students is not that they do not change their thought, but that they do not keep it changed.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, we all know, those of us who've experienced CSC, how profound and uplifting and inspiring and beautiful that environment is, or even being here on Sunday. But what happens when you walk out the door? What happens when you turn off the live stream?
And that's why one of the tenets of CSC is daily spiritual practice is not an option, because daily spiritual practice helps you keep it changed. That's why it's not an option.
And especially if you're still moving through an experience, an unwanted experience, you need that reminder every day. As I move through my health challenges, I need the reminder every day. Especially in those days when the body doesn't feel good. When I could easily just focus in on the pain. I do what's necessary to relieve and alleviate the pain, but I don't stay in the pain if I can help it. I go to the practice. I go to the tools.
If you want health, you must cease to think sickness and fear, and you must get the habit of thinking health and harmony. There can be no sickness without fear. You cannot be adversely affected by anything if you really have no fear concerning it. Everyone has many fears in the subconscious mind, but they are not consciously not consciously aware of, but they are operating just the same. I'm just disclaimer. I'm going to read this next part, and then we're going to talk about it because I find it problematic. So we'll talk about it after I read it. Okay. A man said, I entered a town in a foreign country in the east of Europe during a typhoid epidemic. I did not know that there was any typhoid. I never thought about it. I didn't know the language and couldn't read the papers. They were printed in Greek. Yet I got typhoid and had quite a siege. How do you account for that? The explanation is that he believed in typhoid fever. He believed one can catch it from others and that it makes one very ill for so many days, and therefore he had a subconscious fear of it. He subconsciously knew there was typhoid around, and as it always does, the subconscious enacted or dramatized his real beliefs and fears and presented him with a good, hearty case of typhoid. If he had really believed that he was a child of God, who could not be hurt by anything, he would not have had typhoid. All right. Now this is again one of those examples of I think the unfortunate dogmatism that can come out of New Thought. I think it's important for us to note, and I always try to zoom out to the highest level here when it comes to illness and sickness. We as human beings hold a collective belief that we get sick, right, on some level. So baseline is just whether he knew there was a typhoid epidemic, whether he knew about it, right? He couldn't read the language. It wasn't that he feared typhoid. All of us have gotten sick, will get sick, because we hold a collective belief around that, right? And so it's also interesting here in the framing because there's still a pandemic, right, of something that none of us knew existed in 2019, right? And many people were already, dying from in 2019 and on and on and on. So it's not about a fear of a thing, a disease that then moves us into experiencing it. But there is a recognition at the level of thought, at the simplest level, right? Just that there is a collective human belief around sickness. And so, we all get sick and all may get sick. Now, this line about if he had really believed that he was a child of God who could not be hurt by anything, he would not have had typhoid. Again,
take the breath.
That is so unloving, right?
So unloving.
It's even the opposite of how we see Jesus interact with those who were sick, right? If you believed you were a child of God, you wouldn't be lame, right? If you believed that you were a child of God,
right.
You wouldn't be deaf.
Helping you. Right.
Right. So it's unfortunate. It's incredibly unfortunate that he I think was well-meaning and well-intentioned in wanting to support people and understanding the reality that you can heal, right? That you don't have to necessarily get every sickness, right? And that there is possibility to have a different experience in your body. That's true. But it doesn't negate, if you get sick, it doesn't mean that you don't believe that you're a child of God or that you're not a child of God. That can't be an indicator, right? This is no different than toxic Christianity, right? Where there are plenty of Christian theologies and circles that think in the same way, right? That being sick or not is a demonstration of being a child of God. Being wealthy or not, right? Being wealthy or not is somehow a demonstration of being a child of God or not. And so I just think this is cruel. It's unloving, and it's not really based in fact. The other piece, and I shared this slide during the Masterclass last year, but I think in the context of illness, I think this is helpful, right? This is from the documentary Heal. It's available on a bunch of different streaming platforms, so you can check it out. But one of the things, they went to a study that looked at humans all around the world that have healed from some things that we know you can heal from, some things that are believed you couldn't heal from, but these people did. Spontaneous remission of autoimmune diseases and cancer and different things. And when they looked at everything, people did different things, but when they looked at what were the common things, no matter what it was, who they were, what age they were, where they were in the world, they whittled it down to this list. These were the things that they did, right? Radically changed their diet, taking control of their health, following intuition, using herbs and supplements, releasing suppressed emotions, increasing positive emotions, embracing social support, deepening spiritual connection, have a strong reason for living. Now, notice none of these have anything to do with what he was talking about, fear, right? Now, we have more information today, and so maybe this just brings more nuance. Maybe he would say something different in 2023. Now, one of the other things that I love about this is that when we look at this, there are only two things that are actually physical in nature, right? Radically changing your diet and using herbs and supplements, right? Everything else is internal, right? Yeah. So the underlying point is still valid when we talk about building a new mental equivalent when you're talking about health, that actually the things that are going to be the most beneficial, they support everything you do in the physical. But if you're just doing the physical and you're not addressing any of these other pieces, right, you're still not going to have the outcome that you desire. So it's important that we look at it from this more nuanced, holistic point of view. And again, this is why I think what he said is incredibly unloving. And I trust that as you're seeing this and hearing this now, this supports you in taking a breath and feeling the love.
You know, the other part of that list is that it's all things pointing us in the direction of health. Again, we're not focusing, we get the initial diagnosis or whatever, and we then turn in the direction of health. And all of those things are promoting health and harmony of the body, harmony of the mind, body, and soul. That's what it's pointing towards. And so you might be like, oh, well, he's looking at all, you know, you're looking at your emotional issues that you repressed, is sending you in the opposite direction. No. Right. If the intention behind focusing on those things is health, then you will use the information or the release that you glean from whatever your therapist or whatever you do to support health.
Yep.
So do you see how that now makes it the same conversation that he's having here?
Yeah.
Right? Keep your mind changed. Those things are going to help you keep your mind changed and keep you in the direction and keep you thinking and focusing on health. And if you discover some things while you're going through that list that feel unlike health, then you're realizing, wait, my intention around this is to focus on health. So how is this benefiting my health?
Right.
Not how is this beating myself up?
Right. Absolutely. Change your thought and keep it changed. Not for 10 seconds or even 10 days, but steadily and permanently. Then you will build a new mental equivalent, and a mental equivalent is always demonstrated. And again, going back to that list, when you think about it right from that perspective of building a mental equivalent, that's what it's doing. And we recognize, I mean, you look back at this list, right? This is not overnight stuff.
Yeah.
Right? This is not 10 seconds or 10 days, right? But steadily and permanently. Take control of your health. Steadily and permanently start following your intuition.
Right. I mean, intuition's a big one. How many of us don't even think we have intuition? Right. So it's getting in contact with that intuition. It's learning to trust that intuition and following the God within you to move in a certain direction. Right. And not questioning it.
Right.
That sometimes you need time to develop a relationship with your intuition again.
Steadily and permanently releasing suppressed emotions, right? Not identifying suppressed emotions, releasing them.
See, there you go. That's the key word. Right? Because some of these tools, like identifying it is great, but if you're not using your tools to release it, then you're just focusing in on it, keeping it, holding it, using it to suffer, whatever that is. What we want to do is find tools, people, situations, communities to help you release it.
Right. Increasing positive emotions, embracing social support, community, right? We don't heal by ourselves out on an island somewhere.
Yeah. And, I know personally, like when your body or you're in pain or whatever, it feels very personal. It feels very isolating because it is you and it's happening in your body. But you have to learn how to develop trust to reach out for support or help or medical attention or whatever it is. Right? Maybe it's somebody to help you laugh and not think about the pain, whatever it is.
Right. Deepening your spiritual connection, of course, and have a strong reason for living, right? Powerful. But again, this is all steadily and permanently. You don't develop this over 10 seconds or 10 days. But what you're developing is a way of being, a new lifestyle, which is building a new mental equivalent.
So what is your list of things you're willing to create to support the direction you want to go in your life? If it's around relationship, what is the list of things that you can put in place? It could be a support system. It could be releasing emotions about situations. It could be if it's finances, learning, understanding how finances work. It could be all of those things. What are you putting in place to keep your mind changed?
Yep. Then you will build a new mental equivalent. And a mental equivalent is always demonstrated.
Has to be. That's law.
That's law. The secret of harmony and success is to concentrate your thought upon harmony and success. That is why I teach that attention is the key to life, right? You've heard me say it, and I've been saying it a lot this year, particularly this idea of God is focusing on what you're focused on, right? Our focus of attention, it's a huge part of the puzzle, right? Attention is the key to life. What you attend to or concentrate upon, you bring into your life because you are building a mental equivalent, right? Now, many people fail to concentrate successfully because they think that concentration means willpower. I love that he cleans this up, right? Because this is important. It's like, oh, okay, now I got to concentrate. Now I got to work hard at keeping my thoughts changed, right? It's not what we're saying, right? They actually try to concentrate with their muscles and blood vessels. They frown, they clench their hands, right? I just did it. Unwittingly, they are thinking of an engineer's drill or carpenter's bit and brace. They suppose that the harder you press, the faster you get through. But all this is quite wrong.
And if this is something you've been doing in your life about anything, just forgive yourself and set yourself free. Because we all do it and have done it. None of us have been immune to, quote unquote, using our willpower to change something. But willpower only lasts as long as your ability to keep it up like that. And have you ever been tense in your body so long that once you relax, you're like, wow, I didn't realize how I was focused and how hard it felt and how my body was reacting. It becomes your way of life, and that's not what we want. We want ease.
Right.
We want peace. We want prosperity to come to us.
Right.
It ain't gonna come with a closed fist.
Forget the drill and think of a photographic camera. I love this example.
I love
oh,
this.
My goodness, right? And of course, we have our phones are our cameras now. In a camera, there is, of course, no question of pressure. The secret lies in focus. I say focus of attention. If you want to photograph something, you focus your camera lens quietly, steadily, and persistently on it for the necessary length of time. Again, our camera phones, we just hold it up, right, and point it in the direction of the thing that we want to take the picture of.
And take the picture, right.
Suppose I want to photograph a vase of flowers. What do? Well, I do not press it violently against the lens of the camera. That would be silly. I place the vase in front of the camera and keep it there. But suppose that after a few moments, I snatch away the vase and hold a book in front of the camera, and then snatch that away and hold up a chair, and then put the flowers back for a few moments, and so forth. You know what will happen to my photograph. It will be a crazy blur. Is not that what people do to their minds when they cannot keep their thoughts concentrated for any length of time? Take a breath. Lord have mercy. Do y'all see it?
It's a beautiful analogy. And if I had a message sermon title, it would be Picture This. He's teaching us how to use this tool, the mental equivalent, to picture it and let the picturing be easy.
And to be consistent, right? That's the thing
Right.
here. It's you have the flowers there. You were like, I want to take a picture of this vase of flowers, right? You're clear about what it is that you want. Why are you snatching that away and putting a book in front of it now?
Because somebody told you the book was better. Right?
Then you read something about the chair, so now you're putting the chair.
Now you're over here putting the chair in the picture. And you're like, wait, but I wanted flowers.
And the thing is, your subconscious mind is always taking pictures, right? There's a invisible photographer that's like, oh, okay, you want this? Okay, right? Snap, right? And they're just going to keep snapping pictures. And so then this is where we get into the blurry images, because most of the time the image is just our snatching away. We don't even get a clear picture. I don't know what I want.
It's almost like our subconscious mind is a photo album of pictures and images and moments. Some of those we do want to remove. We want to take that out, like, I don't need that picture, right? And we just put in the images consistently. And over time, we build up this photo album of things that we want, of pictures that we enjoyed taking, of experiences that we had and we want to remember.
Is not that what people do to their minds when they cannot keep their thoughts concentrated for any length of time? They think health for a few minutes, and then they think sickness or fear. They think prosperity, and then they think depression. Again, this is not the clinical diagnosis of depression. They think about bodily perfection, and then they think about old age and their pains and aches. Is it any wonder that humanity is so apt to demonstrate the marred image or the blurred image? Right? And that's what so many are out here demonstrating unknowingly. Again, no heat, no judgment, no shame, no guilt. Because when we understand how the process works, like, there's no guilt involved.
Right. How many times on your phone do you go through occasionally, like, oh, I don't want this picture anymore, and you just delete it?
Right.
You don't sit there in anguish about the picture. You just like, oh yeah, or I don't have enough space in my mind or in my phone for all these pictures. Yeah, don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that.
Or you accidentally take a blurry picture.
Or you accidentally take a blurry picture. I've done that. You know,
Right.
you put the phone in your pocket and then we like, where'd that come from?
Right. But we have the opportunity to be clear about what we want. Note carefully that I did not advocate taking one thought and trying to hold it by willpower. That is bad. You must allow a train of relevant thoughts to have free play in your mind, one leading naturally to the next. But they must all be positive, constructive, and harmonious and appertaining to your desire, and you must think quietly and without effort. Then you will get the mental equivalent of all-around success, and then success itself will follow. Success in health, in social relationships, in your work, in your spiritual development. So he's given us two more keys here. First, how the law of attraction actually works, right? Because law of attraction works at the level of thought. First, right? We're here, the law of attraction talked about in terms of attracting things to us and into our lives. But the first thing that happens is you have a thought, a desire, right? And he says you must allow a train of relevant thoughts to have free play in your mind. That's what the law of attraction does. This is why Abraham Hicks calls it the universal manager, right? That as you start to think thoughts around success, then what success looks and feels like for you, if you're, don't remove the scene, right, while the picture is being taken, and focus on that as more pictures are being taken, you're going to think about and feel what success looks and feels like for you. Or you may, I think I talked about in the previous weeks, that the creative workshop idea, you may go throughout your day and you start to realize there's new things that you want to do, or new things that you want to have or experience as an expression of success in, through, and as your life. And you start to bring those in, right? And so then by law of attraction, you're going to continue to attract more thoughts, relevant thoughts, as he says, that appertain to your desire. And then you must think quietly and without effort.
Right? You ain't got to go posting, this is my new thought pattern, right?
Let it be easy. Let it be easy.
Easy and quiet and peaceful. You know, the other beautiful thing about this whole analogy is it didn't say you had to make the camera either. So you're not going to be in the how to take the picture or how to make a camera. That's God's business. God is the how.
Yeah.
God is the camera. You just pointed in the direction that you wanted to create, to take the picture. You ain't focused on, oh, I got to learn how to, this internal workings of it works. You just point you as the expression of God in the direction. You focus on it. You keep taking the picture. You develop the relationship with your intuition that guides you in this case of success, what success looks like, of people that you need to talk to, or people that you ain't got to force nobody out of your life.
Right.
In that way.
Yeah.
Right? Your mind ain't where my mind is, so I ain't going to associate with you. You just keep your focus and move in the direction that you're going. And you'll bring more, allow more people to come that support that understanding.
You know, we say it all the time. Either the people will change or they will leave. And what I'm learning more and more, I just had a profound experience this week of remembering that love wants to support people and change it. Right? So it's our ego that wants them to leave. Like, well, you know, I'm out here changing and I'm spiritual and I'm deep and I'm woke. So they ain't where I am. So they going to have to leave. But what if they change? Like, do you have the room for that? See, because then that's about love and forgiveness and so many other things. And it's not that you have to do anything about it. I want to be clear there, right? And again, I'm thinking about a personal experience. But I didn't have to try to make that person change. But now there's clear evidence that this person is changing. And that benefits me.
And the caveat, especially in relationships, if that relationship is abusive, unloving, unkind, you remove yourself from that. And then you work on your vibration to attract in the people that are how you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. So we aren't saying that.
No.
We're saying that if there is a person in your life that's, again, not an abusive situation, someone that's a family member or a boss, you got to give them permission to change. Right? How many times have we walked away from a job because that person we thought wasn't acting the way we thought they should? We didn't give them room to change. We didn't give ourselves room to grow. And to receive them as different. Right? So just be gentle with yourself. Don't go all, haywire and out there just, eliminating.
Right. You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
God takes
and when
care
it's
of it.
time for you to move on, you will move on. Or they will move on. Or the relationship will change.
Yeah, absolutely. So we encourage you, one, if you have questions, please send those questions to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. We'll incorporate those in class. But reread this chapter a few times this week, right? Don't move forward. If you want to go back to chapters 1 and 2, you can do that too, because they're short reads. But right? We talk about keeping your mind changed, right? Reading and rereading is another way that we do that, because we're going to get something different. And even if we don't think something different, it's literally getting in, it's settling in. Our subconscious is seeing it again, because we need that habit of this information being poured into our subconscious mind. So we encourage you to do that. And then, of course, we'll continue with the next chapter next week. But yeah, don't move forward.
Yeah,
right?
don't move forward.
Reread this.
About integrating what you're learning. If anything, maybe there's an area in your life that you're ready to develop a mental equivalent for. Begin thinking about that. But if it's causing you distress, like I don't have XYZ, then don't do that.
Right.
If you notice, for example, the vase of flowers, in terms of whatever the experience you want to have, is there, start picturing it. Right? Start applying what you've learned. Where's my emotion? Where's my intent around this particular thing? Right? But if there's stress or strain, let it be easy.
Absolutely. And so in this moment, it is time for giving. You see the information here on your screen, and you've seen it throughout the stream. It's very easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. What's most important is what you see on the screen. Give what feels good, because it is out of giving from a feeling tone of goodness. Not saying that it has to be like an adrenaline rush excitement, but a sense of calm confidence, if you will, right? A sense of ease, a sense of knowing that all is well, that you're giving from source, that you're giving from a well that won't run dry, right? That your form of employment, your sources and streams of income are all flowing from the one source, which is God itself. And that source never runs out, never changes. It's important that we give from that place, because that's then how we experience the true blessing of giving. And when we give from that place, then we can affirm with joy, all the money that I have, all the money that I use
all the money that I use
returns to me multiplied.
Returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle.
Of enjoyment.
Of increase.
Of increase. I lost the word. Of increase.
Enjoyment too, but increase.
Yeah. And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
And to that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. And so we are at the end of our service for today, but of course our day is not over. It is God Talk Sunday, and so we encourage you to join us for the God Talk. Again, the Zoom link and password is shared with our mailing list, and so you can go to the any email that was sent out this year, and it has this year's Zoom link info. For those that are, if you're our first time guests and you want to be in the God Talk, you want to connect, I'm just going to put that up again on the screen. If you join our mailing list, text welcome to this phone number, 347-472-1078. After you complete the information, including your email address, you must have your email address there, then you will receive an email that has the Zoom information for the God Talk. So we look forward to seeing and connecting with many of you shortly in the God Talk. For those that aren't able to make the God Talk today, we trust that you will have an amazing Sunday. Enjoy the remainder of your day and have an awesome, empowered week. We know that you will thrive in many, many ways. We look forward to you joining us live on Wednesday morning for the Momentum Prayer Call, and then we will gather together again next Sunday for the weekend, I was about to say for the God Talk, for the weekend service. So we look forward to connecting with you then. We love you much, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.